after a hammer and sickle drawing that was pointing the wrong way. What will happen on tonight's episode of Jeopardy, the greatest of all time? We'll find out right now. Welcome to the final wager. I'm William Weyser, and my apologies for almost forgetting Zumba last night. It's just that I forgot to bring him over here to show you viewers him for a little bit. There you go. And to make up for it, he's going to be here along with Jingba tonight. And the two of them are going to help me one at a time with doing the final wager. And Zumba will go first. By the way, here are the scores after the first half of tonight's episode and the first game. With another Trudeau double that paid off for Ken, he has a huge lead, but not a runaway, 25,600. James has 13,600, and Brad doing a little bit better this time than the past two times, 8,800. And as I've said before, this is a daily double that everyone gets to play. So, Zumba, what do you think everyone should do? Well, I would say that Brad has to go all in to have a chance, as does James. But at least 4,001 to cover a double up by Brad. And if James does do that, he'll have 27-2. So Ken should wager at least 1601. If he misses, he'll have 23,999. So James would want to wager at minimum 10,400. And Ken, if he wants to go big, could wager 7,999 to stay above Brad no matter what, or maybe 11,999, or whatever he feels about the category. Thanks, Zumba. Now, these are our wagers, and let's see what happens. And as Alex pointed out, all three contestants wrote down their responses before Alex finished reading the clue. So spoiler alert, we have an easy clue in the first half of tonight's episode. Brad got it right and wagered everything, doubling his score to 17,600. James also got it right and also went for everything, which doubles his score to 27,200 and in the lead. And Ken made it another triple solve, and you're not going to believe this. Well, which is what happened to me. He also went for everything and took it pretty much away from both James and Brad. And upon seeing that, I was just like, wow. And I was also like, thank goodness we did not see a 000 in the first half of tonight's game. And this reminds me of a celebrity game back in 1999 when the three celebs were David James Elliott from Jag, Stephen Collins from Seventh Heaven, and Thomas Gibson at the time from Dharma and Greg. Everyone got final right, and they all wagered everything, and Thomas saved Dharma and Greg by being the winner, and he won $24,400 for his charity. Stephen won $11,800, and David, since he couldn't get to $10,000, donated at least that to his charity. So, these are the scores after the first half, and now we move on to the second half of the game. And here, thanks to a very pivotal miss on the Daily Double very early in the first round, this is his first time heading into the final round in third place with 7,400. Brad did much better with 10,000, but Ken has the lead with 17,600. And this time, Jingba gets to do the math. We see here that if James doubles up, you'll have 14,800, and we add that to 27.2, that would be 42,000. And Brad, if Brad doubles up, he will have 20,000, added to 17.6. That's just the way that I talk sometimes. He will have 37,600, but neither of them are enough to catch Ken's 51,200, which means that Ken can wager everything, get it wrong, and still win. But if he gets it right, then he will have a grand total of 86,400. And we don't have second place locked up, so let's see here. That would be 37.6, so to get to 37,601, and I don't think I'm going to have trouble with this. That would be 3,001. If he misses with that, he will have a 2-day total, or a 2-game total of 34,599, and Brad would want to wager at least 7,000, and at that point to catch James all in. And Ken wager anything in between 0 and 17,600. So, these are our wagers. By the way, thanks Jingba for helping me out. And not too much on this one, but let's take a look. In the first half, we had an easier final clue. In the second half, a tough final clue. And these three guys pretty much know how to turn this game show into a comedy hour, according to Alex. James missed and wrote down after that, the greatest syndicated host of TV history, and James was about to write Pat Sajak, crossed it off before he could get to the second A of Pat's last name, and replaced it with Alex Trebek. I guess that makes me like Jeopardy a lot more than Wheel of Fortune nowadays. No offense, but just saying. And James wagered 908 points, which drops him down to 6,492, but earlier he had 27,200, and that gives him a 2-game total of 33,692 points. Over to Brad, who wrote down something in Spanish that I couldn't read very well because I'm not that much into Spanish. And Brad wagered 4133, which left him with 5867. Earlier, he had 17,600, and that gives him a smashed 2-game total of 23,467. And Ken's response was more accurate after a little comment, and he was one of the 2 names off again. And he only wagered 1,200, which left him with 16,400. In the first game, he had 51,200, and it doesn't really matter. And that gives him a 2-game total of 67,600. And speaking of 2 games, Ken Jennings has won 2 games now. 1 more game, and he wins. James needs to win the next 2 games to stay alive. And the only way that Brad wins this, if we get through all 7 games. Is that likely to happen? I don't know, but we'll just have to find out. So, we get ready for episode 4, and I'm pretty sure that according to the schedule, we're not going to have episode 4 tomorrow, but we will get it on Tuesday, January 14th. So, I'll see you on Tuesday for episode 4 of the Final Wager for the greatest of all time, and I'll see you tomorrow as we wrap up the first half of Mr. Man Week 2-parter for Booba. Until then, may the best man win.